Hi, so just a quick video to talk through how we would set up this quota correctly. So you almost have it correct, and you do have it set up correctly, but there's one issue. So if we go to quotas, we have our first three quotas, and then we have our last quota that's based on these three being filled. Now, the problem with a quota is that a quota will only increment once a participant completes a survey in which they meet all of the criteria. So imagine two of these quotas are filled, and the third, or the participant that's currently in the survey meets the criteria for the third quota, but it hasn't yet been met. They're going to be that participant that actually meets the quota count. So in this circumstance, when they finish the survey, they will increment the quota. The quota will now be met, but this one won't increment because at the time they were taking the survey, all three quotas weren't met. So a respondent hasn't yet completed the survey in which these three quotas have been met. So in that circumstance, we would need to wait for another person to come along and take the survey, and then this will increment and close your intercept. So you're actually going to end up with one person over quota in any one of the three areas, which might not be what you want to do. So, I mean, you can leave it this way and just have an extra person take the survey in any one of the three categories. That's up to you. Or we can actually set this up so that this increments with the last person who's meeting the last quota criteria. So to do this, we're going to be working in the survey flow. We need to come back and change this one in just a few minutes. The other three can remain the exact same way as they are. So I would go back and we would go into survey flow. And apologies, I don't speak Italian, so I might get lost a little bit in here, but hopefully I've got this right. So we would click on add a new element here. We would add a branch. And for the conditioning, we would say if quota, and we're going to need to set up a couple of these. So we would say if quota, the first quota, has been met, and quota, the second quota, has been met, and for the third quota, which is this one right here, we would want the, oh, that's not right, sorry, quota, this one right here. And then you would want to go for the count, which I'm not sure if this is. I think that might be is equal to, or the count is equal to. And in this box, you would want to enter the figure that is one less than what the quota should be. So if you want 5 people that are in this quota, you would say this is the 4th person, or that 4 people have already been brought into this quota. And then you would ask one last piece of logic, and you would actually make this be the criteria necessary to meet this this quota. So I'm not sure what the quota criteria is, but for example, if it was question the occupation, for example, is altro, okay? Just as an example. So basically what this branch is saying is if the two pieces are, if the first 2 quotas are met, and this person meets the criteria for the third quota, and that quota is actually 1 away from being complete, that means that this person is going to be the last person to finish this survey, and then all 3 quotas will be met. So in that case, we want to assign them an embedded data field, which lets us know that this is the last person we want to be able to take the survey, because after they finish it, all 3 quotas will be met. So we would call this, for example, intercept, just as an example, so we know that this is the one we want to close the intercept, and then is equal to close, for example. Then what we would do, and that would remain down the bottom of the survey so that it's only incremented once they actually finish the survey. Then what we would do is we would duplicate this. We would change this to be the first quota and the third quota have been met, and now the second quota is equal to 1 less than it should be. So if these are all equal to 5 and the person meets the condition for this quota, so for example is this one, and we would still assign intercept equals close. That's perfect. That's all we need to do. And then finally the last one we need to do is just a duplicate again, and this time we're interested in saying if the second and third have been met. So if Giovanni and this one have been met, but the third one, sorry, I think I might be getting confused. Then the first one has not yet been met and is equal to 1 less than it should be, and the person meets the criteria. So for each one of these 3 branches, we are taking into consideration all 3 quotas that are possible and all 3 iterations of the quota. So we're interested in saying if any 2 of the quotas have been filled and the person meets the criteria for the third one, and they are going to be the last person who meets the criteria, then we are assigning an intercept equals close embedded data to these people. I'm not going to save this, but that is how you would set this up. So I'm going to click close and just remove all the changes I've made. And then what you would do is go back into your quota. The first three can remain the same, but this last quota isn't going to be based on whether all the quotas have been filled. Instead, we're basing this off of the actual embedded data of intercept is equal to close. Because only one person is going to get assigned this, and this is going to be the last person who's going to be taking the survey. And when they complete the survey, this quota is then going to be met and can then close your intercept. So I know that was a couple of extra steps, but it should be pretty straightforward. I just hope it made sense. So if you want to go ahead and make those changes and then run the test and make sure everything works for you. If you do have any follow-up questions on this or any concerns, please just let me know, but this should work for you.